What's up, guys? I assume you guys can hear me. Let's see here. Boom, look at this. Got lots of people jumping in. Wow, lots. Cool. Yeah. I wish I grabbed the chair. That would look cool. Give me one moment here. Waiting for Dana. See and hear you. Awesome. Thanks so much, Charles. Appreciate that. Dana, I got you. Boom, boom, boom. All righty. Hey, give us just a few minutes here. I'm going to finish hooking stuff up. Going to make sure recording's going, make sure everything's ready to rock, and then we'll get going. Sound good? Give me just a few seconds here. Mostly, I just need my pump-up song. All right. Let's see here. Let me get this last piece rocking. This is being recorded, which we're super excited about. Very excited for our special guest today. Guys, we're going to talk about the Dream 100. If you guys could go in the chat box again real quick, let me know that you guys can actually see and hear me. That would be very, very helpful. Boom. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it. Thanks, Edward. Loud and clear from Tony. Appreciate it. Awesome. Tony, gotcha. Got this Q&A stuff. Leslie just said, oh, yeah. All right, cool. All right, you guys. Well, hey, I'm super excited. So just to preface this whole thing, what I've been doing is going back through and asking you guys, hey, look, we've got the 8 modules for Secrets Masterclass. You guys just finished it. I'm super excited. You guys went through it again. It's probably our 4th time taking people through it now. And my job as part of the coach is to go back through and ask you guys what things are still missing from the training. What things do you guys need in order to get launching? The goal of the whole Secrets Masterclass is for you to not stay here. Okay, you understand this is the 0 to 7-figure course, and I can't have you staying here. And so I have to figure out why you're here still. Okay, much as I love you guys, eventually you got to move on, right? I want you to be able to ascend up to the 7 to 8-figure course in training, and into Russell. You look handsome. Why, thank you, Jerry. Appreciate that. So that's the whole purpose of this whole training, though, is that I need you guys to go and get launched. And a lot of you guys are. But one of the places people always run to after they go and they start getting ready to get traffic coming in, and especially after they finish the webinar itself and they actually finish the scripts and they finish the slides and all the pieces in the funnels, the most knee-jerk reaction place I always see people go first is Facebook ads. And that's not wrong. We do that, obviously, but I wanted you guys to continue to reemphasize to you to understand that most of our traffic comes from Dream 100 and affiliate traffic. Does that make sense? Most of what was it? I think it was the stat was 30% of our revenue comes from Facebook ads. That's ridiculous. And so how do we do it? And so I've gone through some Dream 100 stuff. I want to go through a deeper portion of it a little bit later. I'd love to have Russell come in and teach some stuff. I'd love to. I want to dive more deeply into this Dream 100 place. There's a spot where I'm starting to see is kind of like the sore thumb for the whole thing. So, but for right now, though, I've asked a very special professional Dream 100-er. He's amazing. I asked a special guest to come on in and help teach more about how he does his Dream 100 strategy. And there's a few reasons why. He did recently release a course about this, or a book, and it's amazing. Or if it's not out yet, I'm sorry. But we're super, super excited to have on here. This is Dana Derricks, everybody. Let me go ahead and make sure that you are unmuted. And are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Dude, I'm so excited that you're here. I think everyone else, do you mind, just so that, I forgot to wear the chicken costume that you gave me. But just for everyone else who's here, do you mind letting us know more about what it is that you do, and just let everyone know, I guess, more about yourself?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So I am the world's best goat farmer. That is like my claim to fame. My other job, though, is I have a background as a copywriter. So it's
amazing.
Well, thank you.
He helped rewrite the homepage for ClickFunnels.com, if that gives you any kind of gravity of how amazing Dana Derricks is and why it's so cool to have him on the call. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm
a true fan, man. I'm a huge fan. I'm trying not to freak out right now, all right?
Steven loves me, I think, the most because when I was out there working on the on the launch or the relaunch, I hooked him up with probably the best outfit he's ever had ever, right?
It was awesome. It was awesome. It was a full suit chicken costume. I wore it on my motorcycle going home.
He was like the most awesome looking person in all of Boise, Idaho, that whole afternoon on that motorcycle, for real.
You're saying that in the past tense. That's making me nervous. It's still true, everyone.
Yeah, it wasn't the costume. Anyway, all right, sorry. But yeah, so I have my own company that prior to kind of joining the world of Russell and Steven and ClickFunnels, I did okay. I did 6 figures. It wasn't bad, but I wanted more. And then I kind of inhaled everything that Russell taught and did everything. And now I'm going from 7 to 8 figures. And a huge, like probably, I came out there and did a presentation at Russell's office in front, and Steven saw it and stuff. And the number, so it was actually the number 2 most critical thing you can do to scale and grow your business is the Dream 100. So
totally.
The number one thing, you guys don't want to know what that is, but if you don't remember, the number one thing is you can die. If you die, your business is going to explode. Just look at what happened with Apple. Look at what happened with Disney. It's just, but if you're not ready to die, let's do the Dream 100. Okay.
Skip to number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, I'm really pumped for this training. There's there's so many ways to pull it off. And I understand why some people get confused about the Dream 100 a little bit. The Dream 100 is one of those topics. It's one of the few topics that's in both .com secrets and expert secrets. And it's not presented in those books as like the step-by-step handheld way of how to pull it off. There's so many ways to pull it off. How have you found the best way to pull off Dream 100 strategy? Or how are you doing it right now?
Yeah. So, good question. So I've been at this for like a number of years. I actually was doing the Dream 100 before I even knew what it was. And, Russell kind of gave me that epiphany, aha moment of oh my gosh, that's actually a thing that you should actually do and measure, and you should invest a lot of your time, energy, money into that. So, I've tried a lot of different things, and I think the number one thing that I'm doing that's really, really working well is direct mail with the Dream 100. So kind of complementing everything I do with direct mail, specifically lumpy mail. And I'd love to share some of the stuff we do with the lumpy mail because it gets kind of fun.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, I would love that. So everyone knows kind of the plan for this. A little bit is slightly the plan for this whole thing is that I would love to hand the floor over to Derek, get my mug off the screen here, and I don't know if you can share yours. Derek can kind of walk us through things, and he's got some stuff he wants to walk us through the way he does it, the way he pulls the whole thing off, and I think it'll be great. So if it's all right with you, I'm going to turn the floor over, and I'm going to keep going and grabbing some more of the questions that everyone else has asked. So we can queue up later on.
Oh, absolutely, man. Do you want me to share my screen? I got some props.
Yeah, totally. I think it'd be great. I'll take myself off here.
I don't know why it's not letting me. I shouldn't say my screen. Share my webcam, my video.
Is it letting you?
No. Uh-oh. It doesn't want me to.
What?
Well, there we go. What's up, everybody? Can y'all see me?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Gotcha.
So, all right. So this is kind of like the heart and soul of it. So the Dream 100 approach, as Steven alluded to, for those of you that like, I don't care where you're at in your business, like whether you're just starting and you're looking for traffic, like step one, in my opinion, is go to the Dream 100 because like there's first of all, I don't know about you guys, but and Steven, I think you kind of feel this way a little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like Facebook ads, they're great, but they're hard to figure out and they're expensive to figure out, right? Like I like the thought of figuring Facebook ads out to me is like, oh, like no, thank you. This farmer is not interested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead, like literally just all you need to do is find 100-ish or more people, right? And reach out to them. I know that's simplistic and I'll break it down for you, but the reason this is so incredibly awesome, and I'm such a big fan of it that I wrote a freaking book on it, is because Dream 100 traffic is free. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I like free. Here's how it's free. It's free because instead of paying for it up front, like you do traditional ads, like Facebook ads, you literally get fronted the traffic, and then you just give a split of the commission of the revenue on the back end. Does that make sense? So number one, why I love it so much, it's free. Okay. I can't screw up. I can't lose money if it's free. Number two, why I love it. It comes, unlike Facebook ads or any other source of traffic, Dream 100 traffic comes with built-in credibility from the person that you're getting traffic from. Okay, so think of it this way. So what if, so think of like, Russell, a celebrity you follow, right? Russell, right? So let's say that, Tommy at the end of the street is trying to sell you a shovel, right? You're like, I don't know who you are, Tommy. I don't really need your shovel. Unless you're in the 3% of people that's in the market for a shovel at that time, right? Whereas if Russell was sitting at the street corner and was like, hey, man, you need that shovel, I'd be like, huh? Okay, Russell told me to buy it. I'm going to buy it. That's what's so amazing is the built-in credibility. It makes selling so much easier. So that's number two why I really, really, really like it. And there's so many reasons, but and then number three, it's like infinitely scalable. So and it's a snowball effect. So the more you do it, the better you get at it. The more people you work with and who promote you, like it uplifts you and your celebrity, and then you can use that to your advantage to get into the next person. So those are my three most favorite parts about it. So yeah.
So how long have you been doing your strategy? How long have you been doing Dream 100 then?
Okay, so
You're a beast at it, dude.
Well, thank you. Actually, when I said like I was doing it before I knew what it was, I actually was. When I was 17, I went to, so I'm from a small town in Wisconsin. I graduated with 30 kids, and that was a big class, right? Wow. So yeah, I had a dream of playing college football, and nobody did it where I was from. Like nobody. I didn't have just a dream of that. I wanted a college football scholarship. Nobody in the history of my school had ever gotten an athletic scholarship to college in any sport. Right. So what I did as a 17-year-old is I listed off like a list of I printed out a list of like 40 different colleges that I potentially would want to play football for. And then I put these packages together. Right. That had my highlight tape. It had a letter of recommendation from a coach. It had some more stuff, just like a handwritten letter to them, telling them why I wanted to play for them. And I sent that out. And all of a sudden what happened was nothing happened for like 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks. And then I'm like, okay, well, that was a big waste of time and money. And then I got called in the principal's office one day, and I'm like, that's not good. Usually that's not good when Dana gets called down there. And there's a football coach standing there. I'm like, huh, who's that? He's like, are you Dana? I'm like, yeah. He's like, hey, I want to talk to you. And he started recruiting me. And then the next week I had 2 coaches. And then the next week my principal sits me down and he's like, Dana, when is this going to stop? Because there were 5 coaches that came. And long story short, I ended up getting a big football scholarship, the first one in my school's history. And it was because I did the Dream 100, not even knowing it was the Dream 100.
Holy crap. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's so cool. I had no idea.
Yeah. So that's why I get so excited about the Dream 100, because, dude, you can accomplish things people tell you is impossible. So I kind of like went to college and then got out of it and started following Russell. And then when I read Russell's like Dream 100, like the stuff he put out on it, I was like, oh, that's the stuff. Okay?
You're like, I've been doing this.
Yes. I'm like, that's going to work. And I like that. Facebook ads thing, not my jam. Dream 100, I'm all over it. So what we do, and what I've been kind of fine tuning in the past, is we actually like spend a lot of time building out our list of our Dream 100 potential people we want to promote our stuff, right? Or affiliate with us, or at the very least, just somehow find a way we can work together, right? So what that looks like for us now, because I have a team built out and I have 2 staff members that are literally dedicated to that, plus, people we outsource more to, right? We start with listing out all the potential people that would have audiences of people who are potentially interested in buying what it is we sell, right? That's the starting point. Who has audiences of people that want what we have, okay? And then we put them in a big list. And this last round we didn't do a Dream 100, we did a Dream 1000. And that's way more fun.
Holy crap.
Yeah, right? So what that looks like is we spend weeks researching these people. I joke that we know more about our Dream 100 people than they know about themselves. So we have a spreadsheet that literally, I hope you guys are okay with me sharing everything I do.
Dude, heck yeah. Like, oh my gosh, people are going nuts, man. Just so you know, like I've had personal messages. I've had people, anyway, just keep going. I'm nervous to comment because I want you. I see the floodgate about to open. I'm like, yes, I get the fall, Dana. I'm getting on recording. So anyway, I'm backing up. Go for it, man.
We're just geeking out over here. I don't know. This is so much fun. Anyway.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So we spend weeks researching them. We find out everything there is to know about that person and what they do. And Russell talks about this too. Like, you have to know them before you want to reach out to them. So listen to their podcast, download their stuff, watch their videos, like follow them on Facebook, get into their groups. Like, you have to do those kind of things to prove that you know what you're talking about. And then what we do is we take that information, okay, and we specifically find like one really good thing that we really liked about like what they did. So for example, I might have somebody that just produced some sort of podcast episode, and we will say like, oh man, I really loved that nugget you gave in that podcast episode. So what I see, this is way before we even think about contacting them, right? So we have all this laid out as a foundation, because what I see happen all the time is people that, like, I love that they're trying to do the Dream 100, but what ends up happening is they just kind of spam people and it doesn't work. And then they're like, oh, that didn't work. But if you do it the right way, right, and you do value and you do your homework, most importantly of all, then it's going to work and it's going to be amazing. So before I forget, the thing that I thought about that literally changed my life is this. When it comes to the Dream 100 and people promoting you as an affiliate, right, what do you think potentially the value of just one affiliate is to you? Okay, if you get one really good affiliate, it could be $10,000, it could be $500,000, it could be millions of dollars over time, right? Like my biggest affiliate is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to me. That's how much money we've made together. So people talk all the time about customer acquisition costs, right? I can spend this much to acquire a customer and I'm still profitable, yada, yada. Nobody ever have I heard talk about the value of an affiliate. Even more so, there's something called that I've coined as affiliate acquisition cost. Okay. So if an affiliate to me is worth $50,000 over time, conservatively, that means I can spend up to $50,000 to acquire someone as an affiliate. I can chase them around and send them wacky stuff, which I'll show you in a second, up to $50,000 to get them to become an affiliate for me.
Genius.
It's a game changer. So, here's the thing I love about it though, is like you can't really mess up because they're so valuable. Like they're so valuable. So, anyway, keep moving. So we get the list built, right? And we know in our minds, if we get out of this 100 people, whatever you want to call it, we do 1,000 right now, but if it's 100, if I can just get one person out of that list of 100 to promote my thing, and let's say that we end up doing $20,000 together, okay? I can spend up to $20,000, right? Like hitting this list with messages and packages, whatever I want to do, and I'm still profitable. Right? Now, the odds are you're going to get way more than 1 out of the 100, but that's just to give you permission to do it, right? So after you have the list constructed, you've done your homework, most importantly, right? And you have fuel to reach out to them with and ammo, I guess. Now we can talk about the strategy to contact them and actually get their attention, okay? Here's what most people do wrong. They email them once, they don't hear back, and then they give up. They're on to the next one. I don't know about you guys, but I get pitched a lot of stuff, and I know Russell gets pitched a lot of stuff. And if you send a one-and-done email, what are the odds, you think, Steven, that Russell will reply to that?
Dude, there is a filter on his computer that sifts out tons and tons of I mean, he gets, I'm sure, thousands of emails a day, but probably only actually sees, I don't know, maybe 50 of them. And they're the ones that he's looking for. So yeah, email's not, yeah, totally. And you're yelling in the wind, man. Like, email's nothing.
Yeah. So and now Russell's big time, huge, right? Like that's like reaching for the stars in a way, right? But even the smaller ones, right? Like they're not going to see the email, right? Most likely. Before I forget, let me take a step back. So when you create your list, I've seen this question before, and I've ran through this in my own head. And I spent some time when I was writing my book to like hit this section because I don't want anybody I want them doing it perfect from beginning to end. So one thing I see people wonder is, who should I go after? Should I actually go after the big time people, or should I shoot smaller? And here's my advice: go for the moon from the beginning. This is why I say that. So 2 reasons. Number 1, when I did my Dream 100 thing, and when I was 17 years old to go play football in college and get recruited, I didn't shoot for the moon. I heard in one ear everybody telling me, "You can't do it, Dana. You're not good enough," right? And then my other ear, I'm thinking, am I good enough? I don't know. So I got the internal and external thing going on, and I didn't shoot high enough. Although I got my football scholarship, which is awesome, I never reached out to one Division I school. And I regret that so bad because I had so many Division II schools coming to recruit me. Like, what's the difference between a Division I and II? Well, are they a little bit harder to get a hold of? Yes. But guess what? If they're interested in you, the smaller people, the bigger ones, some of them will be as well. So that's my first bit of advice. My second bit of advice is trust me when I say, like, it might seem impossible and daunting now, but I'll tell you this. 2 years ago, when I was building my first Dream 100 list, I had Russell's name written the first time I ever did it on a whiteboard ever. I had it written and then I erased it. I'm like, there's no way I could ever get through to that guy.
Yeah.
And now look, right? That's what can happen if you follow through with this and you give value and you do it the right way. Amazing things can happen. Russell got Tony Robbins to speak at his event twice.
It took him like 10 years to do that too. 10 years to build a relationship before he ever acknowledged him. I mean, yeah.
But it's worth it, right? Because we get to see Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony Robbins. I mean, I love that. Shoot huge. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So should you shoot all huge people? No, probably not. But you should pick out a handful that you can, if they're worth it to you, that you can build a relationship over time. It's going to take longer. It took Russell 10 years to get in with Tony like that. But guess what? I don't see Tony going to other people's events like that. So it's worth it, right? So the other thing, okay, so that's going back to like who and how should you build your list. There it is, okay? I could go all day, but that's at least the foundation. Once you have done your homework on those people, now it's time to get excited about thinking about the strategy to send stuff to them. Now, we said one and done email, bad idea. I do like to send emails though. I do, because it's very, very cost effective and scalable, and you can delegate that easily. Now, in the email, there's two things you have to think about. Now, I'm a copywriter by nature, so naturally my emails that I send out probably are written better than most, but there's two main things, maybe, I don't know. One is you have to prove to them that you know who they are and you follow them and you're a fan. So when I said before, like, do your homework and then you'll find like, oh man, I loved that podcast episode you came out on that gave me this nugget, whatever, right? Put that in your email. Okay, so these are personalized emails. These are not batch and blasts. These are personalized to the person, okay? And it needs to be at the top of the email so they know and they see it, okay? That's number one. Number two, when you're writing these or when you craft your email, okay, and any correspondence to a person that's cold to you that you haven't, had any correspondence with, and this is hard for me to say because I am a very humble person. You cannot be humble. I've tested it, and you have to just lay out all the stuff you've done and who you are. Like, just matter of fact, my name is whatever. This is what I've done. This is why you should listen to me and read this email. Here's what I want to talk about. Like, I've tested it, and
that makes
it doesn't.
Sense, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it honestly makes sense because if you got one shot to prove why you're awesome, that makes sense. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it's like, think of it like, speed dating. So let's say that you have, you're, you're a doctor and you have all this awesome stuff going on. And for the first 10 minutes, you talk about the weather and all that stuff. And then the dinger goes off and you're like, oh, wait, I forgot to tell them that I'm like a doctor. I have my life together really well. And then they're gone, right? So I would highly, highly recommend like figuring out what all the amazing things you've done are, and then list them in the top part of that message. Because you have to think of, like, let's enter the mind of the recipient of our message, right? They get pitched stuff all the time, like 1,000 messages a day Russell gets, okay? How can you stand out? How can they instantly know whether or not they should continue to read it, or should it go through the gatekeeper, that kind of thing? Well, that's really one of the most effective ways. Number one is proving that you know who they are and you've done your homework. But number two is like proving who you are to them, so they know you're not just another Me Too amateur trying to just leech off them or something. So that's really, really important. There's another thing when you're writing your email. It'll come back to me. But so that's where I start. I start with email. Now, here's the trick, or here's like the secret sauce. It is not, so in order to get a hold of someone and like get your message to them, it's not a single event. It's a process, okay? So if I was going to draw this up for you, it would look like this. I have different touch points that I use. Okay. So a touch point is an email. You send an email. And there's another touch point. If they don't reply, right, then you might want to send a Facebook message. Then you might want to send a message through their contact form on their website. Then you might want to send, what I like to do is a direct mail piece, and then follow up from there. So it's a process, right? And the stuff. So there's a couple things. Oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna say. So sorry, a bit scattered here. The cool thing that you can do in your messages is remember who's reading it. It's not the person, most likely, at least at first. It's the gatekeeper. Okay, so you're not speaking to the person necessarily. You're speaking to the gatekeeper. What I like to do is literally in the email, I will say something to the effect of like, and in case this isn't hitting their desk directly, please make sure you get this message to them because I don't want them to be upset at you for not relaying the message, right?
Oh, that's cool, man. That's that's awesome. Okay, cool. You're addressing the gatekeeper, which it's gotta stroke the ego of the gatekeeper a little bit. Give them a little bit of status to get some acknowledgement.
Yeah, because what does the gatekeeper want? They want to be the hero in the situation. They want to be like, oh my gosh, to their boss, hey, look at this, like I got this for you, like I found this, and then the boss be like, yeah, like all excited and like amazed by it. In reality, you're just trying to get through them to get to the your message to the person. So always like address the gatekeeper and get them out of the way. And then like I said, it's a combination of things. And what I have found works really well is if I can't get my message directly to them, then I'll try again instead of trying to, it's kind of like dating to marriage. So not that this would, I hope this hasn't happened to a lot of people, but let's say
who knows? I'll start Dream 100 for dating now in the future. That's a
oh gosh, there, Dana. I'm not qualified for that.
Brand new offer. I love it. That's a sexy, attractive offer.
So, love it. So if you were like dating, this is what happens. Like this is how I see it. Marriage is the person promoting you or you guys working together. That's the ultimate goal, right? It took Russell 10 years to finally get Tony to like, whatever, like, right? So that was a longer period of time. Some people will be shorter. Some people would get married after a week, a month, whatever. But what I look at it as, okay, so if I'm trying to get them to parlay the message to their people, to who I wanted to go to, and it's not working, then I got on my knee and proposed, and that freaked them out, and they they weren't ready. So what do? I don't quit and then go try to find another person necessarily. I will take it back a notch, and okay, let's go on a date instead. So the date is, hey, what's your mailing address? Like, can I get your best mailing address? Because I've got a little something I want to send. I have never, ever been denied a mailing address, nor have I ever, now, like, that doesn't mean you won't, but nor have I ever been questioned, what are you sending us? Like, it's ridiculous. They always.
That's amazing.
No, yeah. And, like, this is my thing that I do, right? So it's not like I just started this. Like, I've been doing this a long time. So
wow,
we get their mailing address. And then guess what we do? We send them stuff. We don't send letters, okay, in envelopes. Those get thrown away. They look like bills. They're not exciting. We send boxes, okay? It's called lumpy mail. And guess what? And guess why? It gets opened. Literally, it gets opened. And I don't know about you guys, but this is what I teach. Like, so I'm the boss here, and there's like, I've got employees and stuff, and they get the mail, but trust me, they don't open boxes that are addressed to me because those are mine. It's like a present. Like, you don't open someone else's Christmas present. Are you crazy? Right?
It's true, man. I made that mistake one time when I first started working here. And I went and I opened up Russell's mail, and I thought that I was being nice. And I thought, but Russell's like, he doesn't get mad very frequently, but I could tell he was really frustrated because I opened like 6 boxes, like full out packages. And I was like, oh man, he didn't say anything, but I totally saw it. And then from then on the future, when he left the room, I asked his assistant, I was like, Melanie, I shouldn't have opened these boxes. And she goes, you opened those? And I was like, oh crap. Like, it's so true though. Like, people love to open stuff. So that's why it gets right past the gatekeeper. So it's so much easier.
Oh, for sure, man. Like, so that's a perfect example. Like when I was in there, working with you guys, in Russell's office, I watched Russell open boxes. Okay. So this is legit. And myself, I speak for myself. Like I open stuff addressed to me because it's like, anyway, you get it. Like if somebody opens your present and is like, hey, look at this cool thing. You're like, cool, but that was mine. So, that's the why we do what we do. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, okay, Dana, calm down, goat farmer. What do you actually send, right? I don't know what to send. What do I send? Well, if we can get away with sending weird stuff like this, like you can send anything you want. So I'll just go through a couple examples quick of some stuff we send. So this is an action figure. It is Biff Tannen from Back to the Future.
That's awesome.
Right? We have this is one of my personal favorites, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What? 316.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And so it kind of a funny story. We actually had to get like this special like account, like this wholesale account with the manufacturer of these items because we bought all of Amazon, like their inventory, cleaned them out. So if any, like we got the hookup. But anyway, we send this is a screaming goat. That's very
sweet.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. This is a rock. Actually, not a rock. It looks like a rock, but it's one of those hide-a-key things. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. I was like, wow, an actual rock. You got some stones. That's cool.
Right? So here's the secret, though. You can't just send random stuff and not explain yourself because then it's just weird. Like, why did you send me a rock? Why are you sending me Stone Cold? Who are you? Like how? I'm trying to click unsubscribe from you, but I can't because it's my mailbox. So there's two things you need to know. Number one, you have to send something that's kind of wacky that they'll remember, which all that stuff I think is. And then number two, you have to explain why you sent it. Okay. So when I try to get a hold of somebody, whether it's a new person or a person that I've kind of had some back and forth with that they haven't emailed me back, I'm like, okay, you're screwed because your assistant gave me your mailing address, which they do every time, and they never ask me why, and they never ask for what I'm going to send. So
ooh, clever. I didn't think about that. That's awesome.
Right? Like essentially, you've given me permission to send you this stupid stuff because you never told me not to. Yeah, I use this all the time to get a hold of people because how else can you get direct access to somebody? I mean, it's pretty easy. So anyway, for this, like this rock hide-a-key, like I send this to people, and when I do, it doesn't matter what I want, whether I want them to, build a relationship with them so that they will eventually become, we can work together somehow. Whether it's, hey, I've got this new upcoming promotion I want you to be part of, or it's like, hey, like you owe me a reply to something, whatever it is. I'll send this or something like that, right? They open it, they see it there, what is this? So then they read the letter, okay, right? Because they're curious, why did I get this? Then they read the letter you send, right? You send in the box with it. So like for this, for example, like there's a reason I sent this. So when I moved into my house, my new house, like about 2 years ago, it was like one of the first days, I went out to get the mail, and I had no pants and no phone. And as soon as I stepped outside, I'm like, uh-oh, because I heard a slam.
Yeah, you locked your, awesome, nice. No pants especially. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, so I had two options. I could either go over to the neighbor's house who I had not met yet with no pants, or I could take the road less traveled, which was I think it's about like a 1 foot square like doggy door on the side of my garage, which is one of the smaller doggy doors.
Did you really?
I did, man. I got through it. I was halfway in. I was stuck. I thought that was how I was going to die, but I powered through and I got through. And the cool part is now I can use that story to get my message.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Oh, perfect tie-in. Love it.
Yeah. So that's the trick though, is like, you send them something weird and then they're like, okay, why did you send me that? And they read your letter. And then if you don't address why you sent it, then it's like, I don't like this. This is too weird for me. But if you're like, hey, why did I send you the rock? I know you're wondering. Well, because this, and I want to make sure you don't have that same problem. So make sure to put your spare key in this rock, and then you don't have to crawl through a doggy door like I did. And then they're like, haha, I kind of like you. That guy's a little bit funny. Andy got my attention. Andy sent me a rock thing. I'm going to read the rest of the letter, and they're going to feel way more obligated to reply. Now, as cool as that is, right? I just gave you guys the ticket to like the access to anyone in the world, pretty much, right? Now, as cool as that is, here's what's even more cool. When you do stuff like this, when you actually send stuff in the mail, I like sending gift cards too because they're very experiential. Like if I send, if somebody sends me a gift card to, let's say, Red Lobster or something, and then I go there with whoever, like the whole time from the beginning of the trip to inviting people to go, to driving there, to eating there, to especially when you pull out the card to pay, I am thinking about the person that sent me that. Like, I'm like, dang, like dinner's on this person. Like, that is like amazing. I love doing that. But the best part about sending mail is it gives, are you guys ready for this? Are you guys awake? Can you write in the chat if you're ready for the best part?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm taking notes. Actually, I'm half away. I'm like 3/4 the way through first page right now. I'm stoked.
Oh man. Okay. This is the best part. When you send something in the mail to someone, it gives you permission to follow up with them and contact them. Isn't that amazing? Here's what I mean. If I send this rock out, this rock costs me like $4 and then the postage. If I send that out to somebody, I now have permission to email them or to try to get a hold of them somehow. Why? Because I need to ask if they got my rock. Did you get my rock? Did you get my package? I wouldn't call it a rock. I don't want to spoil a surprise, but did you get my package I sent you? How much different is that? Did you get the gift card I sent? How much different is that than, hey, can you promote my stuff? Super different. So when you hit them up 2-3 times without them replying, it's okay, more okay, because they owe you a reply because you sent them something.
Like yeah, it totally triggers like reciprocity, you know, like that's one of the mental triggers. Like, hey, let me give you those free stuff. I didn't ask for this, but I feel the need to give right back to you also. Like 100% get that. I've taken a picture of the package before I send it to, and I'll send that to them over social media. And sometimes that will trigger, like, there's lots of times where the address is wrong, but I still open the relationship, and I have no idea where those packages go. They never get them, and I don't get them back either. But it was worth it to start out the relationship. That 100%. Oh, anyway, sorry. I'll shut up.
No, dude, I love it. That's fantastic. Take this to a new level and make it hybrid like that too. So first of all, I love what you did, Stephen, because you're basically getting your money out of the package, whether or not it arrives. Because guess what? You have permission now to send them the message, and they could be like, oh, it never came. Like, oh, okay, I'll send another one. What's the address? And then they give you their actual address if it was the incorrect one, which I love.
Totally, man. It works, yeah.
That's awesome. So, and then the other thing I love to do with this is there's a virality component to it. Like within the inner circle, I'm in the inner circle here, and I sent a campaign out to probably about 3/4 of the inner circle. It was very expensive, mind you, because some of the inner circle members are in foreign continents from me, so it's expensive to send stuff. But they open the box and they get an action figure, and they're like, I've never gotten anything like that before. And guess what they do? They videotape themselves opening it, or they take pictures of it. And then guess what's even better? Here's the real secret. Man, I'm giving everything away, man. Oh, man. Woo! Here's the real secret. If you can brand yourself and use, like Russell has said before, using a theme, like he uses superheroes, which is amazing and awesome, you're going to condition your recipients to want to receive your packages. I've had people say, like, I'm camping out at my mailbox. Like, he's like, I checked it like 4 times today, waiting on a package, hoping you send me something. And it's so cool. So like, I use like white boxes when I ship everything, just because everybody else uses brown boxes. So they know immediately it's from me. And sometimes I don't even use a box, which is even crazier. But
Wow,
they
interesting.
know, right? So they know when they see a pile of boxes, it's like if your grandma like had like a special wrapping paper she always used, and she gave the best gifts, right? So you got a pile of gifts there, and you recognize hers because it has that wrapping paper. And you're like, that's the good one. I'm like, I'm saving that one for last because I know that's going to be the best one. That's how it is when you actually like intentionally brand it, kind of. So for me, it's the white boxes. I don't want to make it overly look overly commercial, but I want them to know it's me, so that, you know, they're like, yes, we got something. And that's why that's part of like the secret sauce. And then using a theme is even better. So for a lot of my campaigns, and I ran out of some of my little trinkets I send out, but because we send a lot. But for some of my campaigns, it's all about goats. Like, I'm the goat farmer, right? So it's goats. So anytime somebody sees a goat, they associate it with me. And I send goats stuff,
Awesome.
human goat, whatever else, right? And they know as soon as they see it, like, okay, that guy's, what is he doing now, right? So that's just, how else can you get that, right? Like, how expensive would that be if you were to use traditional advertising to get somebody's attention to the point where they associate you with something? Like, how many Facebook ads would you have to run? How much, like it would be crazy. Whereas you could just send them a couple packages and you're done.
And honestly, I can't even think on the spot long enough or fast enough to be able to craft a relationship when I'm face to face with someone. So I actually love that. That's so cool. I've never thought of it that way, because then I can craft the whole relationship before I even open the gates with them. And I'm already attacking their beliefs. I'm already going and associating back and forth. Like, that's brilliant. I never thought of that before. That's really cool. I actually, just back to like the whole using the white box thing too. I have a red check stamp, and I always red check. I print their address huge, and then I put this massive red check right across the top of it. And they know that every time that's me, every time the red check comes on anything. I have no idea if it works. It might just be the inside of my head just going, hey, this would be cool. But every time I do it now, it's kind of funny. I don't know if there's really that much benefit yet, but
I love it. No, it's all about the red check, man. That's so cool. Yeah. So like Steven, you're probably killing it with it. And
it's been fun.
Yeah. Like it's way more fun than like trying to figure out a Facebook ad and then getting frustrated when it doesn't work. Like, in my opinion, we're trying to figure out the latest, greatest traffic source because this has been around forever. It'll be around forever. Like, it works. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once we get their mailbox, like, and we get their attention that way, like, they're going to reply. And if they don't, then you just follow up in the other, channels until they do. And now I'm not saying like I'm going to chase them down forever, or like advocating for you, like really being really overly aggressive or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, okay, like, have a mapped out plan, how many touches you want to do, how many you can afford to do. Because remember, your affiliate acquisition cost, right? So let's say it's $10,000. Cool. So now you have 100 people on your Dream 100 list. You can decide, okay, this is how much I can afford to spend to acquire an affiliate and still be profitable, right? So then you can decide, all right, this is how extravagant or over the top I want to get with my direct mail. This is how much I can afford to spend on it. So I know what item I can send and how much I can pay in postage and all that good stuff. And then guess what? Doing good follow-up is what's going to get you to actually get them to build a relationship with you, and figuring out how you can give.
How are you doing that? I guess, sorry to interrupt, but how do you actually do the follow-up? Because
Good question.
You're brilliant at it, and I would love for everyone to hear how you're pulling this off.
Okay, so definitely. Okay, so I'll step back a step. So I'm now to the point where, like, I have 2 dedicated people to it. So I have an affiliate manager who, so it's like Russell has Dave. He's his affiliate manager. So mine is Lisa, and she takes care of like 90% of like the relationships with our Dream Hunter affiliates, and building new ones and all that good stuff. So she takes care of a lot of that. And then I have another person who does all the research for it. So she builds the lists, fills out all the contact information, does the stalking kind of stuff to get to know them, figure out what it is they're producing and what we like about it, all that good stuff, right? So as far as like the follow-up goes, no, that's where I'm at now, but I'm going to take a step back and go to where I used to be when I was doing it, because probably a lot of you here are probably at that level where you're going to be taking care of a lot of it, which is extremely, extremely valuable use of your time, about as valuable as it gets. So what you should be focusing on doing is getting those emails written first. Okay. So that first touch email, getting them out, okay. Getting them out to everybody. And then, mapping out, okay, so what all forms of communication do I want to use? Like, do I want to do email? And then if they don't reply, a Facebook message. If they don't reply, fill out their website contact form. If they don't reply, hit them up on LinkedIn or Twitter, wherever else they are, if they don't reply, and then try and go after their direct mail, so their mailing address, and then if they don't reply, hit them up again with another round of emails and Facebook messages that are more central on, oh, hey, by the way, you're changing up like what you're asking. So instead of the original email you sent, now you're saying, hey, did you get my X, whatever you sent, right, the package, okay? So what I would suggest, what I did when I was a one-man show, is I mapped out probably about 7 touches, and it went from like email, couple days, Facebook message, couple days, LinkedIn or Twitter, wherever else socially they are, couple days, and then go the direct mail route, and then like a week for that to arrive, and then back to email, couple days, Facebook, couple days, and I would go through probably about, like I said, 7 touches, and then be done after the 7th. Not done forever, but done for a little while. Let it cool off, settle down, see if they come back to it, if they haven't had time to check their messages. So those 7 touches probably happen in a matter of like 2.5 weeks or so. So I'd put about on average 2 days between each touch point. Some more than others though. Like obviously when you send something in the mail, you're going to want to give it like a week to arrive if that's domestic or local to your country. If it's international, you're going to want more. But that's kind of how I view the follow-up. And as far as like specifics on what I'm saying in the follow-up messages, so I'm pretty much pointing everything back to the email. So I'm saying, hey, did you get my email on this, that, or, and I kind of like condense it, right? So I always like to send it, based on the size of what is appropriate to where they are. So if I was going to send this as a Facebook message, I'd probably want to condense it a little bit more than an email. If I send it in a letter, in the box that I send out, I would probably have it the full length. It's all about like where they're reading it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. No, it totally makes sense. So 7 touch points after you send the packet. About how long? I know there's art and science to all this, so this may not matter that much, but like after you send the package and you're pretty sure they got it, like how quickly are you following up, actually starting those 7 touch points?
Yeah, so after the package is out, so I don't start typically with the package because sometimes people, I can get a hold of people without having to send the packages, that's cheaper. That's why I do it, because I'm just cheap.
Love it.
But so after the package is sent out, though, yeah, I usually do I give it like about a business week, so about 4 business days after I know the package has arrived, so that they have had time to get back from wherever they were traveling, if they were traveling, or maybe they only check their mail once a week and it piles up. I just like to give that a little bit of time. And then as far as like electronic communications, whether it's, email or Facebook or whatever it is you're sending, I just give that a couple days, because in my opinion, I think messages pile up anyway, and they'll kind of get to it. If you can stay like in their mind. So if they read it and they didn't reply and then they get a Facebook message, they'll at least, if you don't wait 2 weeks, 2 weeks will pass and they forgot what it was. But if you wait like 2-3 days, then it's at least still in their mind. So that's how I space it out.
So you're going and you're saying things like, okay, so I'm gonna step back also. All right. So in that first email that you send out and you try to get, somehow straight through to them, what's the topic that you are coming across with? Meaning, one example you gave us was, let's say it's an email that basically says like, number one, proof you know who they are. Number two, some kind of, it's speed dating. You can't be totally humble. You got to get past the gatekeeper, but you're asking, hey, what's the address? I'd like to send something out. But it seems like, seems like that's the second thing. If the first thing doesn't work, what's that first thing you're asking them?
That's awesome. Okay. So getting their mailing address is like the downsell essentially to the first thing. And the first thing is, here's the deal. So whatever it is you're selling, whether it's a product, service, I don't care. You're wanting them to probably promote it or work with them in some capacity, or you could use this to try and get your dream clients, whatever it is you want. Here's how you sort of position it in that message. Affiliates or Dream 100 people, whatever you want to call them, are motivated by two things. Okay. Two things. Number one, they are motivated by, most importantly, okay, actually, I'll go to number two first because this is less important, but this is what most people always pitch them on. Number two, okay, that they care about the most is making money. Okay, they do care about making money. They do. They're in the business to make money. They're not a charity. So that's number two. But number one, the most important thing that people are motivated by, the Dream 100 people. Do you guys want to know? Should I tell you? Okay, I'll tell you. This is what they're motivated by. They are motivated by getting results for their audience. That is more valuable to them than almost anything else. Okay. So what I do with my things that I want promoted, product, service, whatever it is I sell, I make sure that they know from the beginning that what it is I'm selling is relevant to their audience and it's going to get them awesome, amazing results. Right? How couldn't they want that? Right? And to take it a step further, I like to explain to them that not only is it going to get your audience results, but it's going to enhance and amplify what they already get from you. Okay. So if they have, let's say they have a software, right? I would say, guess what? If this thing that I have is going to make your software that much more effective for them, and they're going to have that much better results with it. Okay. Because all of a sudden you're marrying your thing with theirs and you're making their thing better. And so it's a win for them because their thing becomes better. It's a win for you because you get someone to promote your stuff. And it's a win for the customer, the person ultimately that's purchasing it, because they're getting better results from everything. Right? So that's how I position it. First and foremost, it's going to enhance your audience's results, whatever they're getting currently. Second of all, it's a great way to make money in the process.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. I'm just writing tons of questions that I have. I haven't even looked at everyone. So just so you guys know, I haven't even looked at the questions you guys have written yet. I'm being selfish right now, just asking all mine. So, okay. So we've gone through a little bit more about the contact email, what you're going to be doing at the front. And honestly, I think everyone in the audience, for the most part, everyone at Secrets Masterclass and ClickFunnels World in general understands conceptually that part of it, the reaching out, that part of it. What I get most questions about with this whole thing is it's more about what do I send? So they took the downsell. What do you send? You send the weird thing, you know what I mean, with the story attached to it or something that grabs their attention. Now, do you send multiple packages after that? Do you eventually, because I've noticed with you with Russell, like you'll start out with kind of like the goofy thing to grab attention, but then there's almost like this transition where eventually you go and you start sending really personalized stuff. Like some dude sent Russell a singlet, literally a wrestling singlet with ClickFunnels stuff all over it. It's like, that's pretty personalized. You know what I mean? And so is there a transition period where you go from like small stuff to, maybe more, not necessarily expensive, but more personalized things? You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. That's a really good question. So I use a general rule of thumb. I will send something based on the relationship that I have with that person. So these little items, they're very much designed for people that don't really have a relationship built out with yet, because they're kind of like, it's kind of pop culture-y, almost like iconic stuff that anybody can kind of like be like, oh, cool, like I recognize that. Whereas like if I was, the guy that sent the singlet to Russell, which for the record, that wasn't me.
I was wondering.
Nope, that wasn't. I don't know anything about wrestling, but I think that in order for me to feel comfortable enough to send that, I would have to be like pretty good, pretty close, like not just with Russell, but also like have some sort of like wrestling sort of like background or whatever else. So, because otherwise it's like, it's kind of like if you were to date a person and all of a sudden they start liking all the things that you like, but they never liked them before you, right? It's inauthentic. Does that make sense? So I don't think you can be totally like there's no perfect science to what you send. Ultimately, when in doubt, send them a gift card. Figure out if you follow them on social media enough, you'll know they like a certain restaurant or at least a certain type of food or something, and you can send them a gift card. Or maybe they're a fitness freak and you send them, a little fitness thing, like a shaker bottle or something simple, right? So, and the other thing is like, it depends on how valuable they are to you, right? So that dude obviously had that thing custom made, like, right? Had ClickFunnels gear all over it. He's not going to send out, 100 ClickFunnels singlets to his Dream 100 list. Hopefully,
that would be kind of interesting, though. That's a split test right there.
He could send those to the Infusionsoft people.
Yeah, exactly.
That would get their attention, probably. But I look at it from a cost standpoint too, because it is a numbers game. Like I actually like affiliate acquisition cost is actual thing that I use and follow. So like we order these in crates, or in actual bulk quantities, like by the hundreds. So it's just kind of nice to be able to have like that flexibility of like having a lot of stuff you can send out for a lot less money, because it's not one-off stuff. But I do like the idea of the one-off stuff. When I would consider that, this is a long-winded way of saying, when I would consider sending out a totally customized, personalized thing, is when you've like actually had a personalized relationship with them to the point where it would be appropriate. So I guess you just have to use your judgment there. Otherwise, like, you can't go wrong sending out rocks and goats. Like,
I love it. That's awesome. Okay. So that makes sense. I'm thinking through like weird versus personalized when the transition is. So it's kind of another question along those lines. So let's say I've gone through and I've shipped something out to them, which is my downsell. It's a great way to describe that. I never thought of it that way. And then I've done my 7 touch points. 2.5 weeks has gone by. Like, what would be the next step you would take? You know what I mean? Do you go like another round of research on the person, figure out the next thing that could kind of pique their interest? Like, hey, it didn't work that way, so let's hit you this way, then that way, How long do you do? How long does that take?
Okay, that's really cool. So here's I forgot a big nugget that we do is so the gal that does the research full time here, she's constantly making connections. So she sees like, and as you get better at this and you do it more, it's going to get easier. Everybody becomes connected. It's kind of cool. But so if I were to run through the 7 touch points and then I got nothing, then I would look back at the list and I would try and connect people. So how's that? Is that person connected with this person? And if you're at a point where you can outsource this, that's great. If you could actually hire a person to do the legwork on this, that'll save you so much time. But if you can't, you got to do this because it's really important. You've already invested some time and energy on this person that you want to potentially work with. It's not that much to just go that extra one step. And what I like to do, actually I do this beforehand and I'll reload with it and I'll just change the person. But I see who they're connected to, who I've already connected with, right, in my network or whatever I've worked with in the past. And I will hit them with, hey, and by the way, I won't say by the way, it'll be like toward the beginning, it'll say, I did this with this person, right? So like I could say right now, and sometimes I do, depending on the person, I would say, I wrote the entire homepage copy for the ClickFunnels like relaunch with Russell. And all of a sudden, like somebody that's connected to Russell would see that and be like, oh, like you've worked with Russell, like that's pretty legit. And then if they really are, going to do their diligence or something, they can be like, hey, Russell, did Dana work with you? Yeah. How'd it go? It went well. Cool. Like that would be the next transition, because whenever like the offer doesn't work, just switch up the offer, right? So, or the positioning of the offer. So like it didn't work going direct to them. Now we just got to take a backdoor approach, which is like, okay, who do I know that they know that I can kind of like name drop? And of course you want to have permission and don't want to falsify anything because that's really bad. But that would be the next thing. And then the step after that, okay, so it's like hit him with that 7. This is a very simplistic approach to look viewpoint of it, but hit him with that 7-touch campaign. If they don't reply, find out who their connector is, and then hit them with, hey, and by the way, blah blah blah, and I work together. And then if that doesn't work, I would go to the connector and see if the connector has a person or has some sort of way to get through to that person, if that's someone you want to continue to go down the path of building a relationship with.
Interesting. So you go take almost like finding a niche. If the person is the niche, you take a step back out into whoever that connector is, and you get basically an introduction-ish, or if that's the way, or hey, give me some more examples. That's fascinating. Okay. And now you've mentioned a few times, I know eventually the sexy aspect of this would be to go and have some person out there who's outsourced like you've got, and you have got staff hired and trained. How did you train somebody to this is a huge part. This is just like you said, I personally am not amazing at Facebook ads either. I would rather do this than Facebook ads. I feel like it's bigger money. Honestly, some footwork up front, but way more lucrative. You're handing a huge portion of this off to a person that's not you. How did you train someone to handle that?
Awesome question. Before I answer that, I got to get one last jab in on Facebook ads. And
do it.
I don't know about you guys, but like, I don't like the thought of Mark Zuckerberg owning all of my traffic and me being at the mercy of a competitor, like doing something dirty and getting me shut down, or Facebook slapping me and all of a sudden, boom, all my traffic's gone, right? Like, what is someone going to do to me? Like, report me to my affiliates? Go for it. Like, okay, but yeah, so there it is, final jab. But
I love the jab. Eventually, Mark Zuckerberg is going to screw us all one day. This is awesome. Side way to do it.
Evil. Now I forgot the question, Steven. Dang it. What was the question?
No worries, man. So how would you train someone to do this very important role?
Okay, cool. Good stuff. So here's what I think I'm a little bit good at is I know what I don't know, and I never claim to be an expert at anything that I'm not. So even though I'm I can legitimately say I'm an expert because I built a big company and 99% of our traffic is through the Dream 100. But then when I brought my affiliate manager on, I didn't claim to be the best of the best. So I found what I do for all my staff really is I find people that are really good. So I found a course on joint ventures, which is a little bit different than what we do. Well, it's quite a bit different because our stuff has evolved, but I parked her in front of that. And then in addition to what she learned from that was I gave her all the tools that I was using. and then let her kind of go at like, so from the course she took, she got it, right? And then I gave her the tools that I was using, and then she kind of took it away and ran with it. And the cool thing, like I said before, is like it's so lucrative to the point where like if you get one person out of 100, like that's 6 figures easy over time. Like they don't have to be perfect. They're still going to make you a lot of money.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess because you're having them do the footwork of like actually putting stuff together. That makes sense. Total sense. So I'm going back down to the top of this again. I'm very much a systems process kind of guy. Okay, so I make the list. I go and I make the contacts. I start, and it sounds like you're sending out a single package if they don't say yes immediately, which is amazing. I love that step beforehand. Because sorry if this is boring for everyone else on the call, but what I've been doing is I was like, okay, I'm mailing a total stranger. And so I love that you took the email ahead of time. I'm going to switch that in the way I do it, to kind of intro myself to them and because there's people who've responded. I know that I was like, oh, I didn't need to spend money to do this. You would have already, like, I love that, but for the people you are sending a package to, you've pre-framed with an email, and hopefully they've seen that. I mean, after that first package though, I mean, literally every month I'm sending another one to them for forever. I mean, for as long as, and there's no other contact besides that. I take a picture, I send it to them on Facebook. I say, hey, just want you to know, I got another one coming your way. And I take a picture so that they can see, as I'm holding the package, they can see all the other 100 of packages behind it so that they know they're not the only one. It's like this massive curiosity. And then, but that's kind of it, until I eventually tell them, hey, there's this affiliate area, or, hey, come do this. Like that's all the stuff that I'm doing. How frequently are you sending stuff afterward, I guess? You know what I mean?
Love it, dude. I could sit here and just jam with you on this all day long. Like I know,
dude. I'm loving it. Everyone else just gets to listen.
Yeah, poor guys. No, but dude, you're like killing it, man. Good for you. Like I love hearing what you do. So as far as how often, probably not as, I'm not as like, I need to get more like in terms of like, make it a rhythm, like every month on the first of the month, send them something. Like I need to get better at that. But I do send them, even the ones that I call are like, they're kind of like latent, meaning like either we did a promotion pretty recent, or like I don't have a plan to do something with them anytime soon. I'll still send them like gift cards and stuff, but I would say, so a general rule of thumb, like to me, just like Steven just mentioned, like, do you send packages to everybody or not? Like, no, probably not, because some people you could get without the package, and some people are more valuable than others. The same goes for sending more packages out. Like my biggest affiliate, like my number one, I sent him last Christmas, unbeknownst to him, I have his address so I can do whatever I want. I sent him a big screen TV and a surround sound. I have no idea.
What? That big?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like a 70-inch. Yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap. Okay.
Right. And he didn't expect it.
All right.
And I'll never forget, like, so I met with him like 6 months later, and him and his wife and their kids and stuff. We were out at a mutual event and just having dinner or whatever. And I remember his wife saying, like, thanks for the TV. And I like sat there and I'm like, wait, what? Like TV? And then I was like, oh wait, I sent him a TV. So like I feel like I'm now solidified in like in that family as like this like Santa Claus kind of like person, because I just did that gesture out of the blue, and and now I can guarantee I could literally pick up the phone. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of people that would love for that person to promote their stuff or even just talk to them. Now, because I did stuff like that, I have instant access to them. Like it's really cool. So as far as like getting crazy like that, I would have it basically correlated. How valuable are they to you? Like how much have they brought you in? And that's how much you should be sending them, like crazy awesome stuff. Like Russell gave a Ferrari away. Like, come on. Like it's you got to do that stuff if you really want to do really, really well. And then as far as frequency, like I think Steven, you've laid out a pretty good plan once a month. That sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, it might be overkill though, man. You're the pro at this. I got to adjust a ton of stuff based on what you just said. That was awesome. So I have so affiliate acquisition costs. I'm going back to that just a little bit also. My page here that I'm taking notes on is getting pretty massive. It's totally full. So I'm looking back through stuff here. As far as the affiliate acquisition cost, what is that for you? Like if I was brand new, for everyone else who's listening, how would you actually figure out what that is? Let's say I have even small cash, just a little bit. How would you actually get started with this?
Good stuff. Okay, so as far as like doing it with numbers, which is what you really should do from the beginning. Let's say you don't have a ton of money to run a huge extravagant campaign. What I would suggest is then relying on the more cost-effective approaches of reaching people. So making sure you do like the email and the Facebook and like reaching out those ways, like using those methods before you send anything. Because when it gets expensive is when there's two things that make this expensive. Number one is when you send stuff in the mail. Number two, even more so, is having staff that do this. So if you're not in a place where you can have a lot of mailings or staff, then I would heavily focus on, sending the digital stuff. And you can make that effective by just simply making it personalized is like the first step to making it 100 times more effective, right? So personalize it. Make sure that you're upfront about who you are, what you do. Don't be humble. I hate saying that, but it's true. And then lay out to them what you want them to do in terms of like how it's going to enhance what they already do and their audience's results with what they have. And then also that they can make, what they're going to make by doing that. And then, so I lost my train of thought. Where were we at?
No, I love it. So personalize. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So affiliate acquisition cost then is when you can afford to spend money, right? So let's say you have $1,000, right? I have spent one more jab on Facebook ads. One more.
Bring it, man. I love it.
Okay.
I'm right with you. I'm sure we're sending people though. This is awesome. Polarity.
We're gonna try to log in our Facebook accounts. It's gonna be shut down. We're gonna wonder what's going on.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of hate messages.
So I have literally messing with Facebook ads. I have set up a campaign. Thought I would figure out as I go, like I always do. I set it to go. I went to the bathroom. I came back 5 minutes later, and my $1,000 was gone. I kid you not, and I had nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing. Wow. Yeah, right. And like I'm sure other people have had similar experiences with paid traffic, which is whatever. It works for some people. It really does. But affiliate acquisition cost is, let's talk about this. Let's say you have $1,000 to spend, okay, and you build a Dream 100 list, right? Let's say that, so for me now, like an affiliate's worth a lot, like, high 5 to 6 figures over time, on average, almost. At least like the tier 1, I tier them. So like tier 1 are like the big ones, and then tier 2, 3, and 4. But what I would say is, let's say you have $1,000 as a budget, build out your Dream 100, and then figure on one round of direct mail packages. Okay. And let's say you send it to only the tier 1. Okay. So tier 1s and 2. So tier 1 are like big dog, like big time. Tier 2 are like pretty big, but still like not crazy. And then tier 3 are smaller. Tier 4 are pretty small. Right. So I like to get a mix of all of them, just so I'm always winning. Like I'm always getting people to do it. Because I don't want a list of all tier 1, because then that might take 10 years. And I can't sustain very long if I'm going to be chasing down people for 10 years. Right. And I don't have any incoming business. Right. So what I would say is, if you've got $1,000, I would decide on spending it on your tier 1 and 2 people. And I would decide to send them each at least one package, and that's how I divvied up that $1,000. And I can very confidently say that if you spent $1,000 and you follow this Dream 100 approach that Steven and I are laying out for you, there's absolutely almost no chance, unless whatever you're offering is terrible, like unless that happens, there's almost no chance you won't make 10x this campaign over time. There's almost no chance.
Amen. Strong amen to that. Yeah, huge. Okay, so this concept then, I actually did want to ask a little more about how you make the list. And then I think in the time that we have left, I'd love to go, I'm going to grab some of the questions from people that you guys have asked before this call, the ones you're asking now, and we'll kind of dive through some spot questions off and stuff like that too. What kind of percentage do you offer these people when they do agree to promote for you?
All right, so that's an awesome question. I devoted an entire chapter in my book to this because it's so overlooked, but it's so important. So if anybody needs to if anybody wants to model like a master, Russell is very much so a master. And look at his affiliate campaign; it is among the best. Like he's got amazing prizes, he's got like amazing percentages, like. All that stuff is so cool and so on point, even though you may not be at a point where like you need all of that or whatever, like you can at least use parts of it. But as far as like percentage goes, and I call it like you have to have an amazing affiliate program in order for people to want to promote your stuff, right? So for me, I give 50% of even my higher ticket stuff. So I have, several $1,000 offers, and I give 50%, on those, which a lot of people are more like 30 or 40%. But if I can, here's my philosophy. And I don't know, like, depending on what you sell, it might be different for you, but I think 50% or even 40 or 30, whatever you want to give them, 50% of a sale is better than 0 or 100% of 0 sales, right? So that's how I kind of like look at it when it comes to percentages.
Boom, that's awesome. And I totally agree. I actually do the same. Yeah. Got to stroke their ego and their wallet. Okay, so this goes back to making the list a little bit. So when you actually go back and you make this is what a question I do get frequently as well. When you put the list together and you're starting to go through a whole bunch of people and you're starting to look at all the different people that are that you could put on your Dream 100 list, how are you figuring out that person's audience, qualifies them to be in your Dream 100? Actually put them all together. Because I could go out and, like you said, just start putting a ton of tier 1s on there. And those are not very hard to find because they usually are, they're publishing all over the place or something. I mean, they're usually way easier to find. How are you finding tier 2 and 3 people? How are you qualifying those people to get on there? I hope I'm asking the questions right. You know what I mean? It's around that realm that I get asked that quite frequently.
I love your questions, by the way. So just keep hitting me with them. So as far as like, it's kind of, that's where the little bit of the art comes in. Because when you're pretty niche specific, it's kind of easy. So let's say you sell fishing poles, like who you're going to want to have, like is ideally your tier 1s are probably going to be people that are like famous fishermen or like, people who have an audience of fishermen, right? So that's pretty self-explanatory. But when it comes to like, well, I've got like something that, teaches, or helps people do this, and it's kind of like ambiguous. First, what we do is we find, so a lot of this is easy because it's like social media shows everything about people, like all their interests, all their likes. And one of the best places that I'm giving everything, no, but one of the best places that we go to find, where we find, like where we start with building our lists, is we go to our competitors or people who sell stuff that's in the same space as us. So like complementary, or you could argue like just like alternative options. So when I say, like, people confuse this all the time, but like, let's say you sell a supplement, right? You're in the supplement space directly, right? But your competitors are who most people think is like other supplements, but also your competitor is a gym or a treadmill or a nutritionist or a doctor. Like those are alternative solutions, right? So if I was selling supplements and I wanted to use the Dream 100 approach to sell more supplements, I wouldn't look within the supplement space so much because that's kind of like your direct red ocean. I would look for the people who sell or who have gyms, or the people who sell treadmills, or the nutritionists, or the doctors, right? That could potentially work with you to get your supplements out there. So this is what I do, right? So the place I start, I go to people who already have existing affiliate programs, right? So I scour through different affiliate offers. As an affiliate, I kind of play like I'm going to be an affiliate. And then I get to see a lot of them, a lot of times, publish leaderboards, right? Their top 10, their top 50, their top 100 affiliates. Oh my gosh, what did they just do for me? They built out my part of my Dream 100 list. Why?
That's brilliant.
Right? Because now I know they're already affiliates. They do this. I know that they're good at it because they're on the leaderboard. And I know that they're interested in promoting a product or service that's very similar to mine. So that's a golden nugget that we use here.
Holy crap, dude. That's awesome. We can just end it now. That's huge. That's so cool. Okay, so that's where you get, and that's cool too, because you're finding people who already know the act of promoting offers in general. That's cool. They've already practiced the skills of it. They've already put, just in case people have to leave or whatever, could you tell everyone where we can buy your book or get on a waiting list or something like that? I am dying to know. Everyone else is here is dying to know, and I wanted to obviously acknowledge that. But just in case someone had to leave, whatever, everyone, this is probably going to be mandatory reading in the future, so please go get the book.
Okay, so well, thank you for that very mumuch. And I'm so excited for it because it just came out. We just got these in. It is. Oh! Dream 100 book. What? I'll throw the now. It's in. Here's the thing. It's not a normal book. Like I don't sell normal books. I sell books that are like really crazy valuable. So anyway, you can get it at. It's actually live and for sale right now. You can go to dream100book.com.
Dream 100.
Can I drop the URL in here for those that?
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, drop it in.
Yeah. So I basically I'm giving you as much as I can, but like that is everything.
That's cool, man. I really appreciate that. Well, hey, at this transition point, why don't I start jumping through some of these questions here? And I'll start, first of all, some of the ones that have come through just here on the actual Zoom call, and then I'm going to go back to the actual Facebook post where you guys all posted them last time. So for those of you guys watching on Facebook, feel free to, I'm going to look both on the live feed that's going to Facebook right now, and then also the pinned post from this week that we have every week. So first question we've got here is from Charles, and he says, basically, and this is another question that comes up frequently, is how do I juggle the timing of my offer going out and me starting to build these relationships? Meaning, do I need to have my product done? Do I have to have the funnel up? Do I need to have everything proven? Do I need to have numbers and stats before I go to these people? How do you juggle that relationship back and forth?
Okay, so to be clear, it's if I'm starting, I might not have a huge, amazing resume to hit the potential 100%. Okay, right.
Or even a product. I might not have anything up online. Like, how do I get this go? Do I need? If we're supposed to dig the well before we're thirsty, you know what I mean? Do I start digging before I even have the product ready?
Oh yeah, you do. So that's a really good key point. So before I answer that one directly, I will say, if you have a product or a service that you want them to promote, give them the product or the service. Like, give them it for free. Okay, like you have to do that.
100%.
Yeah. So the good ones are going to demand that before they promote it anyway. But yeah, so that's the best way to, like, first of all, gift them that. But as far as what you can do to dig your well, what are you good at? What is your superpower? Just go to them and give them that, right? So for me, like, I've actually been doing a lot more of this recently because it's kind of fun. I've been doing a little more traveling. So I just got back from, I spent 2 days in St. Louis with Trey Llewellyn, helping him with one of his his company, some copywriting direct mail stuff, right?
Oh, cool.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was amazing. And I was just kind of digging my well. Like, I didn't really have anything for him to like, hey, will you, do this for me or anything? Like, but I gave him a lot of value, and he was super grateful for that. And I know when the time comes that I need something in return, I know that he'll, make that good. So whatever, let's say that you have, you're getting started and you have like some sort of service or something that isn't bundled into a nice package that you can send them, right? You do something well. You have to offer that to them. Like, I know Russell he used to go and there was I can't remember the company exactly, but he flew out there, and he, without getting paid, without any sort of like formal, like, this is what you're going to do for me, I'm going to do this for you back. Like, he just went out there and helped them set up their funnels for like 2 days straight or something crazy. And then like years later, when he needed something, he got it, right? So building a relationship in this stuff doesn't mean like it has to be so formal to the point where like, oh, we're doing this promotion on this date. Like, that's cool. That's part of it. But if you don't have anything to offer to give them right now, just give them whatever it is you do. That's what I would suggest.
That's awesome. That's super awesome. Yeah. For everyone else listening, remember that I keep referring to the story of Mark called when he bought a product of mine, paid for his own programmers to make it even cooler, and then gave it back to me for free to sell to my people. Like, oh, like what? How can I not acknowledge that person? Like, it's the same. Yeah. 100%. Next question I got here is: do you connect people? Do you use Backpack basically to manage affiliate stuff?
I do. Yep. I actually really, really, really love the entire ClickFunnels suite. I'm not one of those people that's just saying that. I truly do. We house all of our affiliates in Backpack. It's really easy. First of all, that's what I love about it. And it is, so those that know affiliates stuff, like Steven, you can probably attest to this, but like the whole like the sticky cookie thing and some of the stuff that that ClickFunnels has in Backpack is like top notch. And most, I'll be honest, like a lot of your bigger affiliates are going to demand that it's housed in ClickFunnels because that's where the majority of their stuff is. So if you're not already there to set it up, make sure you do that. It takes like spend 5 minutes and you'll have your first affiliate like stuff set up. It's really easy.
Yeah, 100%. Super, super simple. And yeah, we've had to invent things that are not actually available in the whole of the internet. That's how cool it is. Question from Heather: how long do you warm people up before you go for the ask if you didn't get it that first time?
Oh man, that's a good question. Pretty much as long as it takes. So I actually talk about in my book about like Russell's relationship with Tony and how long that took. And I bet if you were to, I don't want to speak for him, but like if you were to think about getting a tier 1 person or very, very high level person to do something for you, to work with you somehow, and I was going to tell you, but it's going to take you 10 years of chasing that person down and building that relationship. It would be like, oh man, that might be worth it. It might not. I don't know. But for like to have Tony, obviously that's worth it. But I wish I could tell you like, how long do you have to marinate, the meat before it's tender? I don't know. It's as long as it takes. Some not very long, some 10 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like it's almost like you said, there's no real science behind it. It's like a normal friendship. You can tell when you're ready to go hang out, you know what I mean? Or like dating. You can tell when you're able to, become a real thing or whatever. And it's weird to compare it that way, but it's true. You'll be able to tell.
I love that comparison though. And I think the general, like, it's easy for me, like for those like that, like the guys out there who, ever would either have popped the question or like, whatever. I think that like before I did, right? My general rule of thumb is if I think they might say no, I'm not asking, right? Like I'm not getting on a knee and looking like a fool and getting turned down and going through that. Like I am making sure before I ask. So that's my, I guess, 2 cents on it.
Absolutely. All right, next question here. I'm going over to the Facebook post, everybody, the pinned one. If you want to keep dropping questions there, it's where I just am. Um, it's baffling to me when people don't do Dream 100. It drives me crazy a little bit because I'm like, man, it is the closest thing to, it's like the cheapest way to get money ever, in my opinion. And there's longevity behind it. It's not just a one and done thing. There's a relationship. There's further things beyond that you can start getting. So someone asked here, if I'm spending $15 per month, sometimes this feels like a sunk cost. How much are you on average? What would you say the kind of return you get, for each person in a Dream 100?
Okay, so to kind of get an idea of what they should pencil in as far as like ongoing costs kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. It's not a sunk cost, obviously. This person called it that, but what kind of ROI are you getting? Like we would, just for example, too, before we answer, like we would spend. I think Dave said we spend $20 to $30 on the expert book the expert secrets book itself. It was about $25 per package, but we'd get back thousands of dollars for each one of those relationships on average. Like, what kind of return do you usually see on those?
Yeah, and the other thing is like some of it's you can't even quantify it because like, for example, like I put on a live event and I didn't have to pay anybody to come speak because they were just willing to do it because I built relationships with them. So there's stuff like that, but as far as like, I am so bad. I am really bad with like spending. Like I spend a lot of money. I'm a goat farmer, but I'm not good at managing like my spending. Like I don't have a budget kind of mindset. I don't default on that. So that's why this is so great because I could do like did you hear what Steven said? They spend $20 and they get thousands back. Like it's different than like traditional advertising where like, you have to know I spent for every dollar I spend, I got to get $1.10 or $2 back. Right. Like for this, it's like, I know, like I'm telling you for every dollar you spend on this, if you do it right, like you're going to get 10, 20, 100, 500, $1,000 back. So to continue to marinate the relationship, like it's so worth it because even if they don't outright like promote and you can't put a like monetary value on it, they might connect you to somebody else that does that just poof goes crazy, or they might talk about you in front of when they're getting interviewed on the Today Show. Who knows? Like there's so many like these ripple effects from it that like spending like $10-15 a month even to send them something is so absolutely worth it. I cannot tell you how worth that it is.
Yeah, you kind of trip over dollars to pick up pennies. I feel like if you go straight to paid ads, not that you shouldn't do it if you love that. It's so powerful. A lot of the questions and comments that I'm reading, that I'm seeing on here, talk about how sometimes it seems like, I'll just read this one. It says, honestly, the way you describe properly running a successful Dream 100 campaign sounds much more difficult and time intensive than just paying someone to run some Facebook ads for you or figure it out yourself. I think that's why most people opt for paid traffic rather than going to Dream 100. So we've gone through a lot of stuff here. I mean, a lot of stuff. Could you give like just 2 or 3 steps you would give to just get people moving? Let's say someone may not have a lot of money, just from the top, like really simple things, what you do. Because obviously, like you've learned and grown in this, ClickFunnels has learned and grown in this, our strategies get more intense, but they don't have to be that way to be successful. What would be a simple step-by-step thing you'd give to someone just to get out the doors and start moving?
Okay, so basically, to make this just to get the momentum going, number one, build your list. Okay, it doesn't have to be 100. That's a cool number, but it doesn't have to be. Maybe it's only 10 or 20. Like, let's say you're local. Maybe it's only 10, or maybe it's 200. Who cares? Just build the list for inspiration. Find other people who sell things that are in the same sort of realm as you. Right? Remember when I said if you sell supplements, you want to find the people that sell the gym memberships, the treadmills, the nutritionists, the doctors. Like find those people and find what those that have affiliate offers, and then go take the people who are already promoting their stuff, like if you can, okay? Otherwise, find some people refer to them as influencers, okay? Find them, throw them on a list, okay? Get their contact info, find something out about them. That's step one, okay? So build your list. Step two, reach out to them. If you're trying to take the approach of I don't have a ton of money to waste on this or spend on this, just go ahead and craft that email, okay? Exactly how I suggested. So start off with proving that you did your homework on them. Secondarily, showcase what it is you do in a not so humble way. And then third is explain how bringing what you bring to the table and what you want to do with them amplifies and improves the results that their students or their customers or their audience is already getting. And then you'll end with kind of explaining the terms of the offer and how much money they can make. Okay, so that's step two. Step three, follow up like crazy. Okay, so if you sent an email, touch one on day one, wait a couple of days, send a Facebook message. Wait, no reply. Wait a couple of days, connect with them on LinkedIn or do something. Just keep the momentum going. And if you just literally rinse and repeat those three things on your entire list, you don't have to spend any money. You don't even have to send out anything in the mail if you don't want to. I bet you if you stay persistent with it, follow those three steps, you're going to find someone that's going to promote your stuff, and it's going to be amazing. And I see someone asked to repeat those. Okay, cool. So number one, build your list, right? So compile your list based on existing affiliates that have promoted similar things. If you can find them, if you can't, that's fine. Find people that have audiences of people who are potentially interested in your stuff. Okay, build your list that way, and then do your homework on these people, fill in their contact info, and fill in something cool that they've done that you can showcase to them that you actually follow and care what they do. Yep. Oh, Steven's writing it down. I love it. Number two.
Heck yeah.
Craft your message. Okay, so in the message, and it can be digital, you start out by saying that you prove that you've done your homework. You say, oh, I loved your blah, blah, blah episode of blah, blah, blah. Or I loved your blah, blah, blah product because blah, 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 right? So you start off by proving you've done your homework and you know who they are. And you've consumed their stuff. Number two, in a not so humble way, you prove to them why it is they should listen to you, okay? Or they should continue to read the email and build a relationship with you. Number three, you showcase how it is, what it is you're offering will enhance and improve their audiences or customers' existing results from whatever it is they had been doing with that person. Okay, and then number four, you what was it? You explain how much money and what the kind of like why they should financially promote with you. Okay, so that's step two. Yep, and then step three, follow up like crazy. Okay, touch one might be email, touch two might be Facebook, touch three might be LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever else socially they are, Instagram. Step four could be direct mail if you have the budget, and I highly recommend if you to do that. Step five could be text message if you have their number, something like that, and then you just repeat. Okay, and again, if they don't reply or you can't get a hold of them that way, step 3.5, okay, 3.5 is to find connectors. Okay, do the connector approach, right? And I know, so some that are like, for anybody that thinks, oh man, that's a lot of work, it is a lot of work, but guess what? The payday is crazy. Like the payout is crazy. Like ClickFunnels is the fastest growing SaaS company in the world because they're really, really good at this. Okay, so is it a lot of work? Yes. Could you and should you delegate it when you can and when you're ready to? Yes, absolutely. That's what makes it magical. But you got to do it if you want to get there. So those are 3 steps. 3.5.
I love it. 3.5. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of what you're trying to convey message wise, if they can just feel your passion for what the heck it is you're doing and why you have this offer up, convey your why like a beast and get emotional, get real vulnerable. People are going to have a really hard time ignoring you with that. I used to do door to door sales, and they always taught us 80% of sales take 5 follow ups. Most of the time you only get, if you follow up one time or not even at all, that's like you'll close like 10% of the time. To get to the 80%, you have to follow up 5 times. And it's not that they're trying to be rude or whatever. Like, they just forget you're there sometimes. We're all busy.
Amen, man. That's the most underrated thing. And like, if I were to ever do like high level consulting or anything, that's the first thing that I would bring to any business, because that is the first thing that any business does really, really bad job of. And so I think of it like, it's literally so true though. Like my own, like I have a company that does like my like payroll and tax stuff, right? They have to contact, I pay them. I am their client. They have to literally email me like and call me like 5 times before I even like see the messages and remember that I need to get back to them. Like, can you imagine as me being a client of someone, if you have to track someone down that hard as a client, like you have to actually follow up with people. And like, that is the secret sauce behind this. Because all you need to do is get your conversion rate of these, of your Dream 100 acquisition. If you can get that a little bit higher and a little bit higher, that's where the magic happens. That's where the real money is made. And the way to do that is like what Steven alluded to, following up. And I have a saying, you get 8 no's before you get a yes. Now, a no doesn't mean no. They say no. A no could be, they didn't reply to my email. They said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm really busy. I'm going to have to get back to you. That's another no. They might not reply to your LinkedIn request. They may not reply when you send them something. They may not reply to your second email, okay? Or they may say, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, so sorry, I forgot. I'll get back to you Monday. Like, look at how many no's we're going through, right? Most people would give up on those, right? That's what it takes, that little extra like, okay, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep doing it until I either get a hard no, I'm not interested, or, yep, let's do it. I don't care how long it takes, right? That's the difference between making this work really, really well and not so well.
That's awesome. That is awesome. When do you kick someone off your Dream 100 list?
Okay, so this is pretty funny. So like, when do I give up on them? Man, I kick them off if they're like completely full of crap, which Russell gave me a really good breakdown of like, for every 100 people you contact, like, don't expect to get 100 replies. Like, you're probably going to get like 40-ish replies. And then of the 40, yes, I like 40, right? And then of the 40, maybe like 15 will actually follow through with what they say they will. And then of the 15, like 10 will actually be like telling you the truth and not full of crap. So, and then of the 10, like 1 or 2 will be the ones that you make all the money with. So if you look at this, like, you're going through 100 people to find 1 or 2 good ones. Like, it's almost like you're trying to hire people and you get 100 applications to find the 1 or 2 people that are really good that you actually want to hire, right? It's the same thing with the Dream 100. So I want your expectations to be realistic. Like, if you send out 100 messages, like, you're only going to get 40 people that will reply realistically, at least in a reasonable time frame, right? Let's call it the first month or something, right? And then as far as like booting people, like, if they're totally unresponsive to the point where like even their assistants are like, I can't even get through to their assistants if they have assistants, or like, if I sniff any sort of like, this, I don't like this, I'll just put them aside. I'll stop my active like chasing of them. And then if they like are full of crap too, which again 5% of them will be, I will get rid of them as well. But otherwise, I keep them like I'll save for later, right? If they don't reply, and I don't get mad. Like most people take that to heart, like, oh, that person didn't reply to me, and I sent them all this stuff. I'm like, don't get like that. It's a numbers game. At the end of the day, it's not personal. There's probably people out there that I know that I don't reply to just out of a sheer like I don't have time. If I replied to every single person, I would get nothing done. So that's the general rule of thumb that I would use as far as expectation goes.
That's awesome, man. That's so helpful. I continue to get this question, and I know we've kind of already addressed it, but I kind of wonder if you could hit it one more time. I'm going to read it here. It's from Caleb. He says, my biggest question with using Dream 100 people is I want to make sure my webinar is actually good before I get on their list. Where do you start using big name people if you're brand new, without wasting their time, basically?
Okay, so this is what I did. When I started, I didn't have like a big list of my own, and I didn't have a lot of money to spend on ads. So what I did was I got some smaller Dream 100 affiliates on board to promote my webinar, and I did it, and then I did it again, and then I did it again, and then I did it again, and so I used those. So if you're starting, I would highly recommend going after the smaller ones first, so that you can come to the table. By the time you get to the big ones, you can be polished, number one, and number two, you can come to them with data. Some of them, I don't get, this is very rare that they ask, but like the bigger ones will. Okay, so what's your like conversion rate on your webinar, whatever, right? And then you can say, well, I've done 15 of them. My conversion rate's been 20% across the board, blah, blah, blah. Then they can start doing the math in their mind to know, how much money they should anticipate making with your webinar or whatever it is.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I hope it's okay if it's all right to chime in on something I did too, just as far as just another strategy. I think what happens a lot of times with, especially, if you're brand new, which a lot of people in this course are, right? And Secrets Masterclass is usually for people who are brand new, just starting out. They haven't done anything. The fear that you're fighting on the inside is, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough authority. I'm not big enough. That person is so big, they're unreachable. And if you have that, you're going to have a really hard time doing any Dream 100 stuff. You got to believe that you're amazing. And so what I started doing when I first started Dream 100 stuff also is I decided that I would just be open about where I am. And so as far as like what to say, the perfect webinar script is all about breaking and building belief patterns. And so I was like, what are the false beliefs about people, about me, when I go to them? Like, well, first of all, I don't know, is Steve Larson a schmuck? He's gonna make me look like an idiot. How am I gonna protect my status in front of my own people if I work with this kid? It's like all those really huge fears on the inside. And so what I did is I filled out the webinar script, and then I kind of flipped it on its side, and each package was secret number one, or the origin story. Next package was secret number one. Third package was secret number two, and there was a little trinket in there and I was very, very vocal about the journey of me creating my product and so what was cool about it is that it let people go, oh my gosh, like this is the real dude. Wow. Oh, and that's why he's doing it. And so rather than me talk about numbers, like the what, I talked about the why I was doing it, why I was passionate about it, other stories, here's some testimonials from other people back and forth. And it helped to help them realize that I wasn't just looking for like a one-off relationship where I'd take advantage of their list and run away. It was like, man, this is bigger than just Steve Larson. That's why he has to do it. That was the belief I was trying to sink in their teeth, and that's how this. The other thing I did is I started publishing regularly to show that I was serious about it. Publishing and Dream 100 both take a lot of time. And if I can show someone like, yeah, look, here's an article I wrote about this, and I push them there, or look, here's a podcast episode about this, I put them there, because you do need a little bit of authority and you want to protect it for them as well. And so I was able to push back at stuff like that before having something that they could go promote. And then it just created belief for the of the 40 that answered, it was only like 5 that actually wanted to do anything. And that was enough to make bukus. And, that was another way I pulled it off. But
I love that, dude. That is so, you're killing the game, man, with breaking down the actual like Epiphany Bridge stuff in these packages. Like, that is next level. I love it.
Thanks, dude. Okay, so we got just a few other questions here, and then we'll jump off. Dana, thanks for taking all the time here. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm just grabbing a few others here. I'm sorry, I'm looking for the next question here that we haven't already hit. Literally, I'm looking at all the questions here. I'm like, well, maybe not that specific question, but we've hit like pretty much everything I can even see. Let's see here. Now, do you set up, I've watched Russell do this a few times. I wanted to know your take on it is, do you set up specific landing pages with that person? Do you, when it comes time to actually selling with them, what do you do that's personalized for them?
Awesome stuff. So I almost forgot one of the biggest nuggets, and that is this. You guys ready for one more nugget? I love to.
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
Come on, let me know you're alive and awake. All right, come on. Okay, cool. Because if you're not, I've got goats.
What's up, Ron? What's up? Michael, boom.
Okay, cool. You guys are awesome. I love it, dude. This group is amazing. I'm so happy to share this. Okay. Affiliates and the Dream Hunter people, they are the laziest people on earth. I am dead serious. If they think they have to lift a finger, they're not interested. Literally. So to answer your question, and this is part of like the pre-framing of what I'm trying to like do with them. And I'm like, don't worry. Like, I'm like, I can use this because I like whatever. But I'm like, don't worry. Like, I'm one of the best copywriters in the world. So like, I've already got the emails, swipes already done for you. It's all done. You don't have to do a thing. Right. So if you can just ingrain in their mind that they don't have to do any work, really, like literally, then that's like when Russell's like launches his stuff with his affiliates, like they just send them to a page. Like, that's it. Like, everything's done. So, basically, what I do and what we have had a lot of success with is there's 2 different ways you can go about it. And I think the bigger you get, like, the more likely you are to go the second way. The first way is to make everything what I call co-branded and very specific to that individual. That's what we've done, and our bread and butter has been, and it's worked really well. So what I love about that is when they hit, let's say you're going to do a webinar with them, which we do, like private webinars, like I'll come on as a guest to their audience, and them and I, they'll be on there with me, and the whole, like the entire experience is co-branded. So we set up the landing pages. We do all this in ClickFunnels, all of it in Backpack, where it's really, really, really easy to do. So essentially, I put their logo everywhere along with mine. It's co-branded. Even in my webinar slides, everything is co-branded. So it's literally for their audience only. Like, I tell them everything. This is just for you guys. Like, even the offer is just for you guys. Like, I go as far as I have 500 domain names because every single affiliate that I work with, I buy a custom domain name that has their business or their actual name in it. And then it forwards to their affiliate link, right? So that's solid, set in stone. That's how, like, I throw it on the webinar slide when I'm doing it with the affiliate. So if I was going to do them with Steve, I would have stevelarsondeal.com, which would be in my slides, right, during the webinar. And then it would, guess what, forward to his affiliate link for my offer, right? So I think co-branding is like amazing because it gives you the built-in credibility and trust. Like, think of like a name or like a brand, like that you trust, right? Like, if that's sitting next to a product or service or another brand or another logo or whatever, like instantly you're like, okay, like this, I get what's going on here. Like I feel good about this, right? It's kind of like if you were to go to, let's say you were traveling and you were in another state and you were like let's say that you were a Boise State fan, right? And you come out to Wisconsin and I take you out, we go out for dinner and there's a couple that's sitting there. They have Boise State jerseys on. You're like, what? Like instantly you feel great about being in that bar because there's Boise State fans there, right? It's the same thing. They already know and like that person and that person's logo and that brand. All of a sudden, oh, cool. Like even though I'm not in Boise, like there's still Boise State fans here. So it's cool. Like I like it. Like I trust it. Right. So that's number one. Number two is having like more like a traditional launch where you have a lot of affiliates come and they just push traffic to a thing and it's not co-branded. Now that's what the bigger names do because it's really difficult to do. When you have 500 or 1,000 affiliates, it's hard to do 500 or 1,000 webinars. So for most of you that are, starting, that's what I would go for is the co-branded stuff to the point where it's totally customized experience from beginning to end. And your deal is literally like you tell them it's literally just for their audience. Like that's been extremely effective for us.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I've watched Russell do similar stuff where, especially kind of like the higher up on the tier scale they are, like we'll start doing specific things like that. Like, oh gosh, I love that. I forgot all about that stuff too. I'm glad you brought it up. That we did the same thing for the viral video launch, man. That you came out to and it was awesome. And we made for all the huge influencers. It was like 400 pages. It took forever, but we literally at least had a path with just their name on it. So the domain.com/their name or whatever. And then a personalized video for that person from Russell 400 times for each. And it was like, it's a ton of work, but I mean, it worked, and it's a lot of fun actually, if you can get into it and you can be goofy with it. It's a lot of fun. Hey, I wanted to ask real quick, guys, thanks so much for everyone participating. We've been on for 2 hours now. I don't want to squeeze Dana totally dry here, so I think we'll let you go. But if you could let everyone know more about your book, that'd be awesome. A few people are asking, what, oh my gosh, the price tag, what, oh my gosh, where, can I get it shipped now or whatever it is? Please let us know where we can grab all the stuff.
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, it's been a dang pleasure to be here. I'm so excited just to dude, I love you even more, Steve, because I didn't know you geeked out on the G100 this much.
Dude, so much, man. Like my wife and I will be up late at night, just putting packages together, watching Office,
Oh, dude, the next time I'm in Boise, I'm stealing you away for dinner or something.
Yeah.
We're geeking out on this.
That'd be awesome.
It's so cool. So yeah, the reason I wrote this, I wrote this book because Russell brought this concept mainstream and I see him doing it and then I do it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I was missing for 10 years in my business. And if I would have had this information 10 years ago and followed along with it, I would be so much better off than I am now. Right. So that's why I wrote this for entrepreneurs that need to hear this message. And I know that those of you on here are like, oh man, this is the stuff that I've been waiting for. So that's why I wrote this. Russell wrote the foreword, which was amazing and epic. He literally, the quote is from him. He says, this is the foundation for our entire company. Come on. What? That says it all, you guys. That says it all. So I know it. Here's the thing. I know it's expensive, and it's expensive for a reason because it's that dang valuable. Literally all you have to do is sell get one person to promote your stuff between now and the rest of your life. And the whole thing's paid for. And I guarantee it's going to change your life like it has for Steven and I and for Russell and for ClickFunnels and everybody. So yes, shipping is free. We do the opposite around here of what Russell does with his free plus shipping books. We go expensive plus free shipping. But cool. Yeah, we'll ship it anywhere in the world. We do this. This is my thing. I sell books for a lot of money. And this one especially I am extremely proud of, to the point where I give this to my own mother and tell her to follow along with it. I give Steve one and Russell, everybody like,
Yeah.
So I really know you won't just be disappointed. And I hope that you got a lot of value. Even if you don't buy it, I don't care. I just hope you guys got a lot of value today. But if you want more, that's where you get it.
That's been awesome. Guys, thanks so much. Appreciate it. I'm going to make sure this replay is up. It's going to be up in several places. We've never actually explicitly done a Dream 100 training, so we wanted to bring in the best, Mr. Dana Derricks himself. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. So awesome, guys. Thanks so much, and I'll put the replay up soon. Thanks, Dana.